Good evening, everyone. Welcome to our Wilmot Township Council this evening. I think we'll start off with something a little different for our moment of silence, just a little bit of a celebration. It is with great pleasure and thanks that I congratulate Ms. Frances Wesley of New Hamburg on her recent distinction of the Order of Canada for her contributions to the study and application of social innovation in Canada and abroad. It is my understanding that Ms. Wesley has been with the University of Waterloo since 2007 as the J.W. McConnell Chair in Social Innovation. In this role, she is one of the principal leads in Canada on building social innovation. Ms. Wesley leads a research team dedicated to understanding social innovation. She is a renowned scholar, author of books that focus on social innovation, institutional entrepreneurship, dynamics of interorganizational and interdisciplinary collaboration, and ecological and conservation problems. On behalf of Council, I wish to congratulate Ms. Wesley on an outstanding achievement and recognition of local leadership that is far-reaching. And we jointly say congratulations and thank you for her contributions. So the next item is the land acknowledgement. Mr. Gerber.
Yes, thank you. Through you, Mayor Armstrong. We have gathered in Wilmot Township on the traditional territory of the Neutral, Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, and Mississauga peoples. We also want to acknowledge the importance of the Dish with One Spoon Covenant, a peace agreement made between Indigenous nations before the Europeans arrived. It characterizes our collective responsibility to each other and Mother Earth. We should take only what we need, leave enough for others, and keep the dish clean. By acknowledging this covenant in the First Nations, Métis, and Inuit peoples, we are reminded of our important connection to this land where we live, learn, and work together as a community.
Thank you. Are there any additions to the agenda? Any additions from staff? Seeing none, is there any disclosure of pecuniary interest under the Municipal Conflict of Interest Act? Seeing none. First item is the minutes of the previous meetings. Recommendation that the minutes of the following meeting be adopted as presented. Council meeting December 7th, 2020. Councillor Hallman.
Thank you. Through the mayor, I just have a follow-up question regarding to make it clear about after the clerk reviewed the minutes from the previous meeting to discuss the code of conduct being reviewed with the direction of council. I just wanted to know the results of that review.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Armstrong. So reviewing when it was initially discussed, it was actually only 2 members of council who had endorsed that. However, later on in the discussion, I believe some other members of council did actually endorse it. Regardless, when the work program comes up for review following the budget, it's at that time that action as to where it is in the work program would actually be discussed.
Thank you.
Any other comments, questions? Seeing none. Recommendation is moved. The recommendation that the minutes of the following meeting be adopted as presented. Council meeting December 7th, 2020, moved by Councillor Fisher, seconded by Councillor Fenning. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Next, we have a public meeting, which is a court of revision. We need a motion to convene into court of revision for the Glen Shantz municipal drain. Moved by Councillor Fenning, seconded by Councillor Godek. All in favor? That is carried. We need a motion to appoint a chair. And who that will be. Councillor Hallman.
And we
For
can
you.
appoint,
Sorry. I was just going to provide some clarification. The members of council who are actually part of the court of revisions are the ones who make the have to move in second. And instead of just putting your hand up, you actually have to state who would be the chair.
so through the mayor, I suggest that the mayor is the chair for the court of revision.
Thank you. Who's seconder? Councillor Gordick. All in favor? Those are who are members of the court? That is carried. Where'd it go? And to the clerk, are there any appeals to the assessment?
Through you, Mayor Armstrong, no written appeals have been received.
Thank you. Are there any verbal appeals from those in attendance?
Through you, Mayor Armstrong, we do have the petitioner in attendance. He's not here to make an appeal. He was only in attendance to ask questions, or sorry, to respond to questions. So we do not have any verbal appeals that I'm aware of. But if any attendees do have an appeal, they should be raising their hands now. And no hands are being raised.
Thank you. At this time, we should make a motion to adjourn. Madam Clerk?
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Armstrong. First of all, a motion would be made to uphold the assessments that are being that have been provided for in the report.
Correct. Sorry, slipped that one. Okay. Recommendation that the assessment schedule as per the engineer's report be upheld. Moved by Councillor Gordick, second by Councillor Hallman. All in favor? That is carried. And now adjourn the court of revision. And recommendation is that council reconvene in open session. Moved by Councillor Gordick, seconded by Councillor Hallman. All in favor? Carried. Thank you. There are no presentations this evening. So the next item is the consent agenda. We're now into the consent agenda. If members of council have any questions and want to remove an item from the consent agenda, please indicate so now, as we will not take questions on consent items unless the items are requested to be moved to the regular agenda. Seeing none, the recommendation that report numbers ILS 2021-01 and 2021-03 be approved. Moved by Councillor Gerber, Councillor Gordick. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. So the next item is, that's up. It's bylaws. Recommendation that bylaw numbers 2021-01, 2021-02, and 2021-03 be introduced, ready first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council. Moved by Councillor Fenning, Councillor Fisher. No comments or questions. All in favor? That is carried. Thank you. Are there any notice of motions? Councillor Gordick.
Through you, Mayor Armstrong, not necessarily a notice of motion. I just was wondering, bringing it up maybe perhaps as a direction to staff, thinking this might be the appropriate time. I noticed that the City of Guelph was discussing earlier today joining the UNESCO coalition of inclusive municipalities. I'd like to put forward perhaps that we have our staff, perhaps Ms. Middleholtz or Mr. Whittington, look into that as an option for us to discuss at our next council meeting to see if that's something that we as a council should be involved with. There seems to be quite a lot of information that I think would be valuable to us going forward.
Okay. Thank you. That'll be a motion, a direction to staff to look into that. Very good. No, seeing no further notice of motions. Any announcements? Seeing none, we need a confirmatory bylaw.
Through you, Mayor
Recommend-
Armstrong, there's members of council who have their hands raised and participants.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
They popped up. Councillor Fisher.
Yes, through you, Mayor Armstrong, I just wanted to mention that obviously we're having some issues in Wilmot Township with COVID, particularly in Baden, and I just wanted to encourage people, residents, to really try and stick to the protocols made by the Ontario government and Waterloo Region Health. And this COVID is just such a strange thing. It's a lot of unknowns with it. I was talking to my brother-in-law, lives out in Canmore. His next door neighbor, the wife and the husband both contracted it. And the wife had some flu symptoms for a couple days. And the husband got it after her. And this is back in November, and he still cannot walk even 100 yards without getting completely winded. So there's obviously a lot of unknowns that goes with this disease. And I think the hard part right now is the spreadability of it. So if everybody can please stay safe and just listen to the protocols put by the health units.
Thank you. Councillor Hallman.
Thank you to the mayor. First, I want to thank Councillor Fisher for that announcement. Absolutely, this virus needs a host, and without a host, it can't survive. So if we follow the public health guidelines, that will take down these numbers. So thank you for that. The mental health aspect of COVID-19 is on the rise, and a doctor lost her life to suicide because of the pressure from COVID-19 in Ontario. So I challenge everyone to reach out to someone who works in public health and see how they're doing, check in on them, and see if you can support them at a distance, even with kind words, a comment. It's amazing what lifting up can do when you reach out to someone who's working the true front lines of this. I also want to thank the Shop Local Santa. It has been wonderful to see the efforts put on by Wilmot Township staff to get people to support local and draw attention to all the various businesses that we have in our community. It's been really great to see that passion and that support that's happened. And so thank you for that. It's really encouraging to see those positive pieces of encouraging to support local. I had one more thing here. And I wanted to make one final comment. While we're all gathered here for our local democracy, I want to thank my elected peers and staff. Thank you for your passion, your strong opinions, even when we're on different sides of issues. Thank you to our community who write to all of us, expressing your feelings and opinions. I'm thankful that we have demonstrated that together we can uphold a peaceful democracy. So my true heartfelt thanks to all of you for that. Have a great evening, everybody.
Thank you. Councillor Fenning.
Thank you. Through you, Mayor Armstrong. I echo that thanks. It's really something, you know, incredible to be able to be part of a productive and intense debate. And sometimes, you know, that's how we get to a better spot. So it's really good to be able to be part of a group that can ask questions of each other, challenge each other, and come together to move forward positively. I'm going to talk about the same topic that, well, I think is on. What else do we talk about these days? Unfortunately, it is a huge part of all of our lives. But there are some really great things happening. And I'm going to be sharing a link to some an initiative of puzzle pieces that are being decorated. And when we're able to come together again, they are intended to be put together as a puzzle. And each puzzle piece it's small. You don't have to, you know, paint some great masterpiece. But if you're interested in participating, I will be posting some information on my Facebook page and other social media. And it's also on Wilmot Stronger Together already. So look there. There are some local people who are hosting the space. Thank you, Angie. There are local people who are pickup points for those puzzle pieces. Another thing that our community is offering, so the Waterloo region is offering something called the Safe Voluntary Isolation Spaces Program. And I've asked staff to provide a link on the township website and social media. And so that'll be coming. What it is space to help people who need to isolate, who don't have a safe space to isolate effectively. And a referral can be made by community partners for an individual who shares a home with one or more individuals who test positive for COVID-19 or is awaiting a COVID-19 test result. And so there will be information posted about that and how to access that program, because I know that, you know, not everybody has a home that is able to accommodate a person who needs to isolate from the rest of their family. So this is one way that, you know, our region is working to support people who need to isolate. And I'm going to echo what Councillor Fisher said. Please be careful. Please follow the precautions. You know, we have over 1,000 active cases in the region right now. And many of those have been in our own backyard in the last week or two. We all have to do our part. And I know we're all tired. We all want to get back together with friends. We all want this to be over. But the workers in the hospitals need us to do our part so they can actually save people who are very sick. And if we overwhelm them, I don't want to think about what happens next. So please do your part. Keep doing your part. I know everyone wants to get back to normal, but the vaccine is coming. It's started to roll out, and we will get there. We can do it. Thank you. Thank you to everyone who is, and thank you to everyone who is working to keep everyone else safe.
Yes, thank you, Councillor Fenning. And yes, there was an announcement today at noon from the federal government on funds to support that program for the isolation opportunities for people. So there was a little over $4 million provided by the federal government, the announcement today at noon. So, Councillor Gordick.
Through you, Mayor Armstrong. With everything that's been changing, it's been constant with regards to COVID, and there's been lots of people feeling left through the cracks. And so I recommend for those out there that are finding it difficult, there are some support systems through the federal government as well as our own Ontario government. In fact, one, especially with the education system changing again for the students to stay home, there is one for supporting learners. The unfortunate part for that one, though, is that the expiry date for funding for that one expires this coming Friday. So I will pass the link on to Ms. Middleholt so that she can maybe perhaps reference that sometime tonight or tomorrow so people can take a look at it. But the website is ontario.ca. And I'm sure that if people just go onto that site and find out any resources for themselves, if they have access to a computer, hopefully they can find some extra funding or resources for some of our small businesses in the community. And also, again, to echo the rest of my council staff, thank you for 2020. It was a really hard year for everybody. I think just not being able to see our faces in person, the few chances we did get together, like raising the pride flag, felt really good. And I do appreciate, as well as I think my fellow council members, appreciate all the hard work and frustration that you guys must be feeling, but it is appreciated. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Well said by everybody. Thank you very much. So next recommendation is that bylaw number 2021-0-04 to confirm the proceedings of council at its meeting held on January 11th, 2021 be introduced, ready first, second, and third time, and finally passed in open council. Moved by Councillor Gordick, Councillor Hallman. All in favor? That is carried. And finally, that we do now adjourn to meet again at the call of the mayor. Moved by everybody. Councillor Gordick, Councillor Fisher. All in favor? I think I saw more than 5 hands, but we'll go with that. Thank you, everyone. Have a great evening. Take care.